So my name is David McMillan. This is Hayfield Farm. We're in Saint-Armand, Quebec. That's the southernmost tip of Quebec, right on the Vermont border. We look over the Green Mountains. There's Jay Peak off there in the distance. And we grow vinifera wine grapes and hybrid wine grapes over 3.5 hectares. There's 12,000 vines in this vineyard. We also grow and harvest black walnuts, pears, apples, plums, and then we grow in the gardens basically tomatoes, squash, cabbage, hot peppers, lots of herbs, and echinacea, all kinds of stuff. And we also practice regenerative agriculture in the vineyard. We just keep on improving these soils with everything on this land. It gets mulched back really into the soil. We also do composting. We get manure from a couple of farmers down the road, and then we age that manure in the bottom field for 2 to 3 years, and then we use that manure back in the vineyard rows, in the gardens, and the flowers. And this year we brought in a new piece of technology, not really technology, but we brought a mulcher that attaches to the tractor. The mulcher permits us to put the canes back, the prunings of the vineyard back into the vineyard. We also raise the chickens. So at the beginning of the season, we have about 100 and 140 chickens, and we redo the coop every 7 to 10 days. So everything from the coop goes back into the vineyard. So yeah, we as far as the vegetables go, we sell vegetables to different restaurants. We sell fruits to different restaurants, and generally things just happen on their own. I don't really, aside from social media, if I have a lot of some squash or some melon or some black walnuts or some herb or whatever that I feel that people might be interested in, then I'll put it up on at Hayfield Farm account, and then generally people buy it. We also commission vegetables from a couple of different farmers in the area, just because I don't have the total space needed to grow certain things. So we have a farmer up the road who's growing row 7 miniature butternut squash for us. The lady down 3 houses over puts in about, I don't know, 1,000 pounds of garlic for us, different varieties, but mostly the garlic called Music sells the most. And yeah, and I feel that I buy stuff from my neighbors often because they might have more difficulty going to market than I do. I was in the restaurant business for a long time in Montreal, and I have quite a big kind of Instagram account, or a couple of big Instagram accounts. So a lot of my farmer friends don't have that. So we're managed to go to market for them in some instances, right? As per putting the word out when someone's got honey, when someone's got cherries, when organic corn is a weird thing because it's not really a thing, but sometimes there is organic corn. So when we do get our hands on organic corn, I try to find like the right restaurant to use it. They'll do the right thing with it, and generally try to keep everything inside of basically a like-minded community of people. The black walnuts has been a struggle, but now the beer guys are understanding the black walnut, and I can see that turning into a thing eventually. The black walnut oxidizes black, so you can make a stout. You can make black cider from it. It's very fragrant, so it can be like an adjunct to a beer and to a cider, or to especially aperitif style drinks. One are wine based like amaros, and digestifs like nocino. So, again, we're on the southernmost tip of Quebec, and this is basically kind of the last place in Quebec that the black walnuts do grow here, right? It's not an hour north of here that you won't find any. For us, taking care of the soil and the most important practices that we do uh, going forward are basically just commonsensical. You know, when we prune all of the canes on these vines, there's an enormous amount of leftover canes inside the rows. Now, removing those canes by hand and is very very labor costly. And then what do you do with the canes once you have them? Logic dictates that you compost them somewhere, but it would take like years to compost vine canes. And then just the labor of getting them from point A to point B, or using a giant piece of your property just to compost canes doesn't make much sense. And then burning them doesn't make any more sense at all, especially this year with all the burning that's been going on. It's been quite, we burning them is just not something we want to do. And so with the mulcher that attaches to the tractor, basically we can put all the canes in the center rows, and the mulcher basically turns the canes back into a powder, and that's in turn absorbed by the soil, right? Now, the cane mulch plus a little bit of old cow mulch uh, with an adjunct of ryegrass and clover and red clover and a multitude of other things that we have in the cover crop soil mixes that we add, creates like this big lush green thing, right? And I challenge you to put a spade anywhere in this vineyard, and if you don't come up with a dozen worms in a spade full,